Hey everyone, welcome back to Noiseberry Games. Let's talk about Scorn. So a week or two ago, I covered the preview for Scorn. I didn't think it was great at the time. I had a lot of performance issues, which apparently not many other people had, and they appear to have been ironed out in the full game. The full game was released on October 14th, 2022. Its regular price is a staggering $43.99 Canadian, or regional equivalent, and is developed by Ebb Software and published by Kepler Interactive. So I've been playing the full release of the game, and it starts off exactly the same as the preview. So the puzzles that I was stuck on in the preview, exactly the same in the full game. I think the bit in the preview is probably the worst part of the game. Just as like a gameplay part, it's not fun at all, that part. That's Act 1 is going to be what's on screen right now. It looks like there's 5 acts in the game, and I assume just all of Act 1 was the preview you could download, or I could download, I guess. I don't think it was actually open for public. And the stupid moving blocks around puzzle is such a strange way to open the game, because I hated that puzzle so much. I just followed a guide for it this time, because that was the only way I was going to do it. It's very, very unfun. Just a really weird way to start the game. And so once I got past that, got past Act 1 and got into Act 2, I was all of Act 1, I thought, this is not good. Not enjoying this at all. Got into Act 2, it kind of stepped up a little bit. It's still quite a tedious game. Act 2, there was a ton of walking around, just no music or anything, just kind of droning and stuff like that. Very, very atmospheric, as it says in the video title, but not a lot of fun. I decided to try and, after Act 1, try and go through without a walkthrough or a guide or anything. Act 2, I did fine. Didn't need to look up a walkthrough. Managed to kind of figure things out for myself. Was feeling a little bit more positive about it. Got into Act 3. Again, kept Act 3 of 5. This is just kept keeping on. Didn't want to look up a tutorial or a walkthrough or anything. Just wanted to see if I could figure it all out myself. And partway through Act 3, there's this puzzle, which I wasn't recording of, but I'm going to try and hopefully get some footage of it on screen, just so you can see what I'm talking about. It's one of those puzzles where you have to get all the buttons to light up at the same time, and you know, like if you turn if you press button 1, it turns like buttons 1 and 4 off, kind of thing. And so like they all start off, but you need to make them all light up at the same time. Very, very infuriating puzzle. Really don't like those. But I was able to do the first one. Just managed to literally just brute forced it. I just kept mashing like interact and hoping it would work, and it did. A little bit later, I got to the second of those puzzles, which introduced, I think, 2 more buttons that you had to light up. And so I spent about, I don't know, probably about 3 to 5 minutes just mashing away, trying to brute force it as well. Sort of thought I'd figured it out, but just couldn't quite get it, and was just annoyed that I was spending so long on this puzzle. So I went and looked up a walkthrough for it. Found a nice little guide on IGN on how to do the puzzle, but I thought, you know, the puzzle, like I've already pressed all the buttons. I'm not going to be able to follow this guide from the beginning. I need to like reset the puzzle. So I went to load my most recent checkpoint, and I didn't notice until I'd clicked load, but my most recent checkpoint was the very start of Act 3, and at this point I was a decent way through Act 3. So because I pressed load to try and reset this one puzzle that's decently far into Act 3, I lost 40 minutes of progress. And I couldn't believe it. As soon as I loaded in to the very start of Act 3, I Alt F4'd to see if maybe there was like another autosave that would come up or something. No, the game had not autosaved at all during Act 3, and I couldn't believe that. I went and looked at the like in the load menu, it shows you like where the autosaves are, and it looks like Act 2 saved at like Act 2 1, Act 2 2, Act 2 3 maybe, and then there's just Act 3 at the start, 40 minutes before, and there was nothing after that. and I couldn't believe it. Like Act 3 was very tedious. There's a lot of backtracking and running around and backtracking, I guess. And I just couldn't believe it. I thought that there's no way I'm gonna bother doing this again because it was really unfun. And so I Alt F4'd again, and I started making this video because I was really frustrated. I was definitely planning on finishing it, only because I knew it was pretty short. Like, I've put in 2.3 hours, and I think I was actually near the end of Act 3, which is even crazier that there's no save points in Act 3. So yeah, I probably could have finished it up in another couple of hours or something. I don't know, I might still go back and finish it if I can bring myself to go through Act 3 again. But I wouldn't say I enjoyed the time I've spent with the game at all so far. It looks amazing. The graphics are great. Performs very poorly. I messed around with some of the graphic settings, like most of the time. I'm above 100 FPS. It runs fine. And then just sometimes, I guess in like bigger areas, it'll drop down to like 60 at a low, which isn't the worst, but kind of used to higher FPS now, and I should be able to get higher FPS. And so like in those instances, I tried dropping every single graphic setting down to low. Doesn't make a difference. So I just don't think it's a well-optimized game. Like I said, it looks great, but the graphics, the graphics settings do not seem to affect performance very much at all. There's also a bunch of horrible graphics effects on by default. There is a slider, or there's an option to turn off motion blur in the game now, which is great, but it does still have chromatic aberration and film grain on. Luckily, you can disable those through editing the engine.ini file. There's a very helpful post on the Steam forums for the game that tells you exactly what to add to the ini file. That makes it look a lot better, because I couldn't believe how disgusting the film grain was at the start. So that should obviously be an option in the game options, but at least you can turn it off by editing the ini. So like I said, it looks great, really atmospheric, really gory and brutal and kind of horrible, but just not fun to play. It's a very plodding walking simulator with extremely obtuse puzzles that aren't fun to solve. It's a really polarizing game. Like, I saw like in the review thread on like our games, I think the lowest was literally like 10%, 1 out of 10, and then I think the highest was a perfect score. So it's all over the place. Some people are like this. I do not. I think I'm still gonna try and finish it. I'm gonna have to like take a few days off though, because I'm like really pissed that I lost so much progress just from trying to reload, just because the game doesn't do autosaves. Which is weird, because it definitely does autosave at points, because I'll talk about this in a little bit. It introduces combat in Act 3. I don't think it was in Act 2. It introduces combat at some point, but it definitely in Act 3. And if you die, because I died a couple of times, because I like went into this combat scenario with 1 health, and I was like trying to dodge past the enemy, and I just kept getting killed. And that took me back, like, it wasn't the best checkpoint, like I still had to go through a couple of really annoying animations each time, but it definitely had a checkpoint, but you're not allowed to load it yourself, I guess. So I don't know what they were thinking with that, especially when, I don't know, some of the puzzles, like, it'll be a lot easier if you can just reload the area and follow a guide from like their default position. But they don't want you to do that, I guess. They don't want you to load the game if you want to. The combat is garbage. The combat really sucks. I think there's 4 weapons you can get eventually. I got the first 2 weapons. First of all, switching between the weapons takes about like, I think it was roughly 2.5 years, I think, to finish up that animation. Really long time. Very atmospheric and, you know, engrossing. I can't think of the actual word right now. But yeah, not fun from a gameplay point of view. And so the first weapon, the main weapon I played with is, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's like a pneumatic gun or something. You hold it out and it shoots I don't know, kind of like it punches the enemy ahead of you, basically. So it's a very close range weapon, and you pull the trigger and it just sends out a thing that hits the enemy in the face, basically. So you have to be very close, and you only get 2 charges of that every 10 seconds or something, probably. And all the enemies I was fighting would take 5 hits to kill. So you can imagine how annoying that was. Just makes these stupid little combat encounters that are very unnecessary, just not fun at all. And then the second weapon was like a revolver kind of thing, I guess, like a pistol sort of weapon. And again, very atmospheric. Reloading it, you would literally see the characters slowly hold the weapon in front of them and literally place bullets in the chamber one by one. Very, very atmospheric, but not fun from a gameplay point of view. Again, that basically sums up this game. Very atmospheric and immersive. I think immersive is probably the word I was looking for a little bit ago. Scorn, very atmospheric and immersive, but not fun to play at all. So yeah, I was planning on finishing the game before I did this roundup video kind of thing. But as soon as I lost 40 minutes of progress, I thought, well, I'm not going to play any more of this tonight. So and you know, I'm in a bit of a ranting mood. That usually makes an interesting video. So I thought I would do this video now. Might not go back to it. I'm still annoyed. It's really annoying. Anyway, yeah, I personally don't recommend Scorn. I don't like it at all. But like I said, it's a very divisive game. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't like it at all. There you go, that was me talking about how much I dislike Scorn. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!